going to get going in just about 2 or 3 minutes, but if you're here and you want to speak on any particular topic, we do have cards up front or outside. You can fill them up and give them to staff, and we will get you under the public comments later. You guys are good. You quiet? Don't have to get everybody quiet down? It's Tuesday. You got me confused. It's Tuesday. All right, I would like to call everyone. Let's see. Hang on. Let me make sure my computer is not here. The beer board? Yeah, I don't have the beer board. What? My computer went down, so she got me right there. All right. So before we get started in our regular meeting, we do have a beer board meeting, which will take just a couple minutes. So I'd like to call to order this beer board meeting for March 5th, 2024. Everyone is here and present. So first, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the May 1st, 2023? That's how long it's been. It's May of last year. Approve the minutes from that meeting. Motion by Mr. Biggs. Second. Second by Mr. Brooks. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? That item passes. No old business, Mrs. Owens. All right, on to new business. This is for an application for an on-premise beer permit for Stacks located at 5226 Airline Road. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Lawson.
This is an application, again, for an on-premise beer permit for a new restaurant, Stacks, at 5226 Airline Road. After the submitted application, background check has been done. Everything is in order, and staff recommends approval. The applicant is here, I believe, in the audience if you have any questions.
You've heard the recommendation about Mr. Lawson. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Biggs. We do have a public hearing, but just real quick, since we do have the applicant here, if you don't mind, just come up and introduce yourself to the board real quick. I don't know if they have anything to ask after the public hearing, but if you'll just introduce yourself real quick, if you have anything you want to add real quick.
Well, hearing is, when was the last time you guys did an approval? May?
May of last
You
year.
guys don't have many of me that come around very often, I guess, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So my name's Nick Bolander. I am the owner, and this is a little awkward. I guess I could probably remove this. I am the owner of the soon-to-be Stacks in Arlington. I also own a location in Collierville, which is where I currently live with my family. I've got 4 little kids, ranging anywhere from 10 down to 8. And we're hoping to be open by the end of April, is the goal right now. I'm sure everybody's been by there, being that it's the normal driving path as you go in and out of Arlington. We'll be located right next to the new Kroger's and the old Posh lighting store is, I think, what it was. It'll look much different when you go over there when we open. Any questions?
No, that's it. I just wanted to give you a chance to introduce us to the board.
Yeah,
and
you
put
bet.
a face to a name.
Yeah.
And so now we're gonna. So if you put.
What's that? Yeah.
Never pass up an opportunity, you know. So.
Yeah.
All right. So now if you can put the microphone up, and we'll have a public hearing.
I feel honored. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
I know. So do I have a motion to suspend the beer board meeting and open a public hearing? Motion by Mr. McKee. Second by Mr. Brooks. We are now in the public hearing. This was published and advertised. So if anyone is wishing to speak on this particular request tonight, just the beer board, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing, resume the meeting?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Key, second by Mr. Brooks. We're back in the main meeting. Any discussion or questions for staff? No? All right. Seeing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Any other business, Mrs. Owens? All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn the beer board meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion and second. Any objection? We are adjourned from the beer board meeting. You're done if you want to go home, unless you just want to stay and hang out with us. All right. Exactly. So, all right. So now on to our regular, I'd say our regular, it's usually on Monday, but it's Tuesday this month. The Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting for Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. Everyone is here and present. If everyone will please stand for the opening prayer, we're going to have Pastor Carlisle come up and pray for us, and then please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, let's pray. Father God, thank you for today. Thank you for just the privilege and honor that we have, God, just to live in this incredible community. God, we thank you for just the leadership of this team. God, we pray that you would continue to give them wisdom and discernment beyond their years. God, thank you for the growth. Thank you for blessing this area in your favor. Father, we love you tonight. We thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Benjamin, since I saw a card from you, if you'll lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance
Thank you. Please be seated. All right. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the February 5th, 2024 meeting? Motion by Mr. Harmon. Second by Mr. McKee. Any discussion or questions on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Next up, grievances and comments from citizens. This is where we allow anybody to come up here and speak on any particular topic. We'll give you up to 3 minutes or so. We do ask, please note that it's not necessarily a Q&A, so we may not be able to answer your questions right now, but we will do our best to let staff take note and address, and if we can cover it during the meeting, sometimes we can do that, sometimes we can't. So just wanted to give everybody that impression up front. So it looks like we have 3 cards right now. So the first up was Mr. Scott Benjamin.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Do I need to say my name and
State
address?
your name and address. for the
Yep,
record.
Scott Benjamin, 12292 Forest Street in Arlington, Tennessee. So thanks for just giving me a little bit of time tonight. There's a thing that we have at Arlington. I'm really here kind of as my role in chairman of the board. Not officially, the board didn't send me, but I'm speaking from kind of a board perspective tonight. One of the things that we have put together is the portrait of an ACS graduate. And here are 5 things for us that we try to have build in from all the way from first grade to a senior in our graduates. It is to communicate effectively. It is to collaborate intentionally, to cultivate creativity, to be resilient, and to lead with empathy. And as I came across this sign in one of our school buildings just a few days ago, I thought, I'm not sure that we have done a good job with that as a board, doing that even here in our town, with specifically with this board. And so I've tried to dig into it a little bit and figure out where this thing got in a ditch a long time ago. And I think I have some ideas, but I don't know those to be 100% sure either. But as the chairman of the board, I have a desire for us and for you guys to really have a good and better working relationship together. We need to. We're in a town that's fantastic. We're in a town that draws lots of people. The school is one of the major magnets that draws people to Arlington, but not the only one. It's not the only one. And so there's no reason for us to live in an antagonistic relationship. And so I would love to find a way wherever that originated, to be able to put that to bed. And so obviously we're not going to do it in a citizen comment thing, but whether that's meeting with you guys individually, whether that's coming to your meeting, whether that's finding out, I'd love to find out where this kind of thing started for sure, and where it can end as far as the kind of rubbing up against one another relationships that seem to be there. And so maybe some of you are looking like, I don't know what you're talking about, and maybe that's fantastic. But I think some of you do know that that's a truth. And so as the chairman of the board, I'd love to be able to do that with each of you. So most of you have my number. You know where to find me. If not, Mike has my number. And so I'd love to be able to begin those relationships, should that be a desire for this board as well. I appreciate that.
Thank you, and thank you for coming, and I think, as we all know, we can all sometimes get a little complacent in relationships and stuff, and maybe that's where it is, and we're all guilty of it. So thank you for being here and reaching out. Next up, we have Stacy Phantom.
My name is Stacy Phantom. I live at 5224 Summer Wind Lane here in the great city of Arlington. And I'm here about the Summer Meadows flooding and just really wanted to get an update. I know all of you have put forth a lot of time and effort trying to come up with plans of how to handle that situation. And so I know you may not have anything ready right now, but afterwards or in the next meeting or something, when you have time, we'd just love to hear an update. And so, again, we appreciate everyone's efforts.
Thank you, ma'am. And it looks like next up we have, is it Nebraska Tiernan? I hope I didn't say that wrong.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Nebraska Tiernan. I live in 5527 Stamford Line. And thank you for the opportunity to talk here. And I just want to talk about the bike signs. I used to ride my bikes all the time. And in Chapel Ride, to connect to the park, we don't have signs to be able to go through that like a safety way. And also the speed limit is 30 miles. And after, I think that is the church, that area, it's a Chester route. So that area is 20. And I think, in my opinion, should be signs the cemetery to the park, and after the park, like a 20 with sign of share the route with the bike. In that way, we have the opportunity to go to the park safety on bike, and my kids can go even the park or the school or go to the church or library using their bike, and that promote healthy environmental. Instead, I use the car for 2-minute ride. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe we can, so we got your information. Staff can maybe reach out and explain to you how that process works. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Were there any other cards that we missed or anybody that came in late? Okay, seeing none. On to Shelby County Sheriff's Report. Lieutenant, your turn. Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Brad List, Shelby County Sheriff's Office Patrol Division. This will be the City of Arlington Crime Report. Looking at the map on page after, it's not on the screen there. Keep up. Not working. This will be the report for February, and once they'll show the map, we'll be able to see a little more to it. But it shows an increase of crime in the neighborhoods where I believe it was Saturday 2-2 and 2-3, we had a series of auto break-ins throughout the overnight hours. And what we've done is taken our Arlington car, focusing on that Highway 70 area, and seeing if we can't drive that down. The other crime, if you turn to the next page, there were a couple of theft from buildings, all under $200. One of them was a theft of an umbrella and a shoplifting misdemeanor. And a motor vehicle theft is shown to be a theft of a tractor trailer, but we're not sure if that's actually a theft or a repo. But City of Arlington is safe. No violent crimes to be reported during the month of February. Just a couple of the minor theft from motor vehicles, and that's still way less than what the city of Memphis is showing.
Appreciate that. And that umbrella wasn't like just somebody's personal, it was a patio umbrella. Patio umbrella from a restaurant. From It's a Wrap over here. So somebody pulled up, there were 3 of them out there, they just needed one, so. Is that all you have for the report?
That's all I got for the report.
Any questions for the Sheriff's Department report? I just want to make sure everybody realized somebody didn't call the police for their personal umbrella. So.
You'd be surprised.
I know. All right. Thank you, Lieutenant. We appreciate you being here. Next up, we have the Arlington Fire Department. I think it's a little different tonight. I don't know if you're actually doing a report or are we just doing the,
Hey, Mayor, if you would allow me, my report has been submitted.
this is your time right now. You do
Thank
whatever you need.
I appreciate it. If you would allow me, the report has been submitted. It is on file for record. If you have any questions, I'm here for those questions. But if I could, I'd like to use this time to recognize one of our newly promoted personnel, Peter Panos. So Peter, I'm gonna have you come sit up front or actually stand beside me. We're gonna turn around and face this way. So Peter joined our fire department in December. We're very fortunate. We've had about a 50% turnover in personnel in the last couple of years, and paramedics are really hard to come by. And Peter's a paramedic. And so he came on Arlington Fire Department as a private. He had 16 years of service with Memphis Fire, served as a lieutenant with Memphis Fire. He had 6 years in the Navy, U.S. Navy Reserves, left as a petty officer, third class. If I mess anything up, I want you to let me know, okay? He's also several certifications with TEMA, or with the Tennessee Fire Commission. So he's a Fire Officer 1, he's a Fire Instructor 1, he's Firefighter 1 and 2, he's a Fire Apparatus Operator. I know that don't mean a lot to you guys, but it means that he can operate either the fire engine or the ladder truck. So he's qualified on both of those pieces. He's also, this is a really hard certification to get. It's through the Tennessee Emergency Management Association, and that's Hazardous Materials Technician. So he's also a Hazardous Materials Technician. So we have a very qualified person within Arlington. We were blessed to have him in November. We pinned him there. Mrs. Durant was able to be there for that. We were able to swear him in. But we have a unique position. One of our personnel recently resigned. He's relocating to Illinois with his wife, who's got a very productive job up there. And so that created a vacancy with us. And it gives us nothing but pleasure to be able to promote from within our department. And so to have him as a paramedic is invaluable. To give you a little background on paramedics, we have Brock with us here today. Bill Geyer is with us here today. When we respond on an emergency call, we're considered ALS, Advanced Life Support. That was implemented by the board and the previous administration back in 2016 or 17, I'm not for sure. But what that does is it allows advanced cardiac medicine be administered to citizens, as well as several other drugs that we can administer. We can pretty much do anything with the fire engine and the fire truck that responds, short of transporting. So it's very valuable to have that service to the citizens of Arlington, and he provides that level of training. The paramedics that I just mentioned, as well as the ones that are off duty, are the highest trained medical on the fire equipment. And so even when the lieutenant gets there, if it's a medical call, he seeks direction, he or she may seek direction from the paramedic to make the positive outcome on those calls. So it's a super benefit to have him on here. He's joined today by his kids. I'm going to mess their names up here in a minute. But Wyatt, Weston, and Brody are back in the back, as well as his mother, Suzanne. So it's good to have you here with him today. And it's important for us because you hear all the time in the fire service about us being a family. And it's really important for us to be a family, but it's even better to see the family come and participate in events like this, to see them around the station and those things. So thank you for having them here. It's also good to see some of our off-duty personnel that's here as well. Lieutenant Wiseman, he's actually going to be assigned temporarily to Lieutenant Wiseman's company on the engine, which some people call it the little palace down the road. So he's going to the nicer station down the road. And then it's good to have our chaplain. Thank you for being here, chaplain. He's been with us now for almost 2 years, which is a big blessing to have him. He pours into us every week, pours into Peter when he's able to. So it's good to have representation here for this event. So since we've already given you the badge, even though it's still the same badge, it's a higher position. So he's going from private to paramedic. And I was talking to the mayor earlier. We like to swear in somebody every time we have a change in position. Not that the responsibility changes, the same responsibility is still there as us as sworn citizens or sworn servants of the town. But what we like to do is it's a reminder for the obligation that we have as we serve the town. And so if you don't mind, I'd love for you to raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Yes, sir.
I state your name.
I, Peter Panos,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Tennessee,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Tennessee,
and the charter and ordinances of the town of Arlington.
and the charter and the ordinances of the town of Arlington.
I dedicate myself to the protection of life and property
I dedicate myself to life and property,
from fire and medical emergencies.
fire and medical emergencies.
I will faithfully discharge my duties
I will faithfully discharge my duties
to the town of Arlington
to the town of Arlington
and to Shelby County, Tennessee,
and to Shelby County, Tennessee,
in an efficient and courteous manner,
in an efficient and courteous manner,
and endeavor to live up to
and endeavor to live up to
the sacred trust invested in me.
the sacred trust invested in me.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. So, Peter, you're going to be moving from the A shift to the C shift. This is his last day on A shift, so they conned him into treating them to steaks tonight. So he'll be cooking steaks for them tonight, and then he'll be going to C shift, and it's a temporary spot. But we're so thankful for staying with us and very grateful for your promotion. I'm going to turn any final comments over to the mayor and Mrs. Grant.
Yeah, that mic is this problem. No, I mean, I appreciate you, Chief, for bringing that to the board. I mean, it's good to hear that from a perspective, because not everybody always knows what all services we provide, so I appreciate that. Peter, congratulations, and we're welcome. Now, I'm gonna allow, I know if they've got steaks marinating next door, y'all probably need to go, so y'all go. Y'all go while we got a quiet moment. Thank you, family, for being here, too. Thank y'all. All right, well, while they're kind of clearing out and everybody's moving in, next up we have a presentation and an update from the Senior Citizen Center. Miss Elizabeth, will you come up, please? Good evening.
Can you hear me on? All right, so I just wanted to give you guys a few updates about what's going on at the Senior Center, and then I want to ask your guys' help for something. And I brought a gift, so you just have to listen to what I got going on, and then you get a gift afterward for it. So at the end of 2023, I think most of you know I spoke at the State Aging Conference in Gatlinburg. There were over 80 attendees in my program, which was kind of amazing to me, small town senior center having that many people there. It was all about the great strides that we're making here in Arlington, what we do, why we do it, and how to recreate it. Evidence-based and lifelong learning programs are key, and it is important to adjust for the needs of the people today as well as those that are coming forward. Because of this presentation, one of the AAADs in the Nashville area asked me to come out and speak to their senior centers. I will be heading there to speak in early April. She recognizes the importance of what we're doing and wants me to provide more information and education to the senior centers in Central Tennessee. Snowpocalypse. What makes us unique is that we don't shut down when the building does. During the freeze, we ran virtual exercise along with programs to strengthen the brain, social opportunities, and other fun activities. This helped keep the body strong, the mind sharp, and the spirit lifted during challenging times. We also used our private Facebook page to provide videos and encouragement to those that don't use Zoom. In addition, our volunteers made phone calls, which alerted me to people who needed deliveries of water as well as meals during this freeze. As you are aware, one of our focuses is on evidence-based programs designed to prevent and slow the progression of a variety of neurological diseases. To add to our quality programs, we just finished training to help those with Parkinson's. What is great about this class is that not only can it help those with Parkinson's, but everybody else. Everybody can benefit from this program. The much-needed additions to our staff have helped greatly. Exercise is so popular that we're using multiple locations. Men's participation has also increased. Our technology programs have advanced, and overall, things are hopping. A shout out to Angela Reeder for her phenomenal work on the town website, Facebook, and app. Have you guys used the town app yet? It's a really good resource. It exemplifies exactly what I promote to other towns and senior centers. It is important to be able to find our town with the least amount of clicks. The site should be eye-catching, easy to read, and easy to find information. Our members appreciate all the hard work that she has done for us. The app now has our senior center calendar, which helps make it even more accessible to our community. We really do appreciate her efforts for us on that. We are also partnering with Arlington's fabulous new librarian. She has many ideas on how to engage our community more. Parks and Rec has been instrumental in helping us use a variety of locations around town, and our fabulous fire department helped us with CPR training for our upcoming program. We recently received a national grant from the National Recreation Park Association's Healthy Aging Through Parks and Recreation Grant. Very long word. In addition, we were one of 11 chosen for the Community of Practice portion. That will give us additional training for best practices on engaging the community even more. For this grant, we chose Walk with Ease. It's 18 months. We will have multiple 6-week sessions, 3 days a week. Morning and evening sessions will be available. Our first program starts in April and will be at the Crossing. This will be for all adults, but especially for those that might have arthritis, heart disease, high blood pressure, and more. Each session will have an educational component, warm up, cool down, stretch, and then each person kind of decides how far they want to walk and how long they want to walk. We will have volunteers that will help us so everybody can partner up and nobody's walking alone. To comply with this grant, over the next 18 months, we need to have 150 participants in this program. However, I think you know your town staff well enough that we don't look to meet expectations, we look to exceed expectations. That's where you come in. So I'm hoping that you will help me promote this opportunity to your friends, family members, churches, and more. And then I'm also hoping that during one of the 6-week sessions over the next 18 months, that you each will join in the program. To encourage our community to better their health now, thereby bettering their future health, we need community leaders to show how important this is by leading the way. Every day, I see the consequences of not managing our individual health sooner. Our goal is to provide evidence-based programming with as few barriers as possible, giving everyone in our community the best chance at living their best life for however long they have here. So, I have a little gift for you guys. I don't know if I have your correct sizes. So I have extra large and large. These will be for the people that come out to the center and participate. But we've got Unstoppable on the front, and then Keep Those Feet Moving Arlington on the back. So hopefully you guys will wear this to promote and also join in the program. So I'll leave these up here. Whatever doesn't fit, I can always get you guys a different size. But thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. You are doing a fabulous job. You're amazing for the Senior Center, and we appreciate all that you do. And considering that almost everybody up here on this board is eligible for the Senior Center, there is no excuse why they should not be out there at some point to do some sort of physical fitness. I'm not going to say who's not, but or.
I was just thinking, when I was like 30, I really cared about the parks and the fields that my kids are on. Now that I'm 49, I really care about what's going on.
But again, we appreciate you guys' help, and if you guys have any questions on the programs, please let me know. But thank you guys.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And with everything you're doing, feel free to go home. You don't have to stay here. All right, next up, just a few comments. I don't have much because I've been out of town the last couple of days and I didn't really prepare much. Ms. Howe, do you have a couple of announcements you'd like to come up and make? And thank you for going to that meeting this morning.
You're welcome. It was a great meeting, by the way.
She does a lot of meetings for us that.
The Mid-South Development District had their inaugural meeting, and Gerald Lawson was there too. So we represented Arlington.
He gets paid by the hour, so.
Well, I got your thanks, so
Okay.
that's okay. Just a couple things. I do want to mention, if you haven't seen in the Shop Local magazine, look for our two-page ad. We start on March 19th through April 25th, our annual Taste Around Arlington project. You'll remember that years ago, we did a tasting event in Arlington. Well, COVID pretty well killed that, and what didn't kill it from COVID, the Memphis Health Department killed it the rest of the way. So we now do a tasting that encourages the residents to go into our restaurants, and they collect their receipts, they turn them into the chamber, we give out cash, which is gift card prizes, to our local businesses. So everybody wins. You get to eat great food, the restaurants hopefully pick up some business, and our local retailers are the recipients of, we're doing the gift cards with them. So I hope that you'll look for that advertisement because it explains all the details, and like I said, it runs through April 25th. And let me tell you, we'll end up with a great big tub of receipts when it's time for the drawing. So I hope you'll participate. Next week is our luncheon on Wednesday. If you have not come, you might recall we've moved to Orion Hill. Would love to invite you if you've not yet been. I will mention the mayor now holds our new record for 190 attendees at last month's.
92, you didn't count 2 at the end.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I was told at least.
You were
so.
told that? Okay, 192. I'll be sure that Mr. Wilson knows as well. But we do have next week, we have Doug McGowan, the president of MLG&W, as our speaker. Might be a great time for some of you all to attend and hear some of the plans that MLG&W has moving forward. Thank you. As always, if you ever have any questions for me at the chamber, please reach out. I'll be glad to talk to you about anything going on that I can. So thank you for your support.
Next month could break a record. Maybe not for the right reasons, but it could. It could break a record. So.
I did not let the speaker know that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Tanya, and like I said, thank you for all that you do. Just a couple of announcements. Myself and Vice Mayor McKee were in Nashville the last 2 days for the legislative TML, trying to get with legislators and stuff. Honestly, it's gotten a little more difficult up there now. As we witnessed as they go into session, with all the protests over the last couple of years, they've gotten to where they block off. They don't give you got to go through more security. They've got it backed up, and it's not as used to. You can just hang out in the hallway and talk to them, grab them, and talk. It's a lot more difficult now. So that's kind of the frustrating part, because usually if you just talk to them for a minute or two, you could get in their ear and get what you needed and get done. So but it's still a productive conference. So we did that. Just got back a few hours ago, and then the other thing I have is, don't forget, petitions are due next April 4th if you've got on this, whoever's running, and that's I think all I have. Any announcements from the board? Well, I got one more for that. I'm just saying for announcements. Y'all have any announcements? All right, we do have a committee appointment for a design review committee, Luke St. Clair, and just wanted to let everybody know he fits the landscaping part of the requirement for the DRC. So, Larry St. Clair. I mean, Luke St. Clair. Luke, there's a Larry St. Clair and a Luke St. Clair. Excuse me. Luke St. Clair has a landscaping business, so hopefully he can be an asset to that. So, I'm going to let Mrs. Owens introduce our new librarian.
Yes, so Jennifer Jenkins is here with us. She is Jennifer Jenkins.
Jennifer Jenkins.
Mm-hmm. She is our new librarian. She joined us back in January. We're really excited to have her. She's already got some great things going. We are going to have a meet and greet at the library. If anybody from the board would like to go, the public's welcome. It's going to be March 26th from 5:30 to 6:30, and we will have light refreshments. It's just a great time for you guys to meet them, our staff, and all the programs that they have going on as well. So.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. Where did you want to come up and tell us? Like, I hate to put you on the spot. Just give us a 1-minute synopsis of kind of where you're from and what you're doing.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I grew up in Ripley, Tennessee. We have a mutual friend, right? Hi, Mr. McKee. And I am thrilled to be moving to Arlington. I've been eating at all your restaurants and working with realtors and looking at houses. So I
Good.
will be down here hopefully in the next month or so. And we have a great little library, small but mighty, and doing lots of programming. I'm enjoying, everybody's been so welcoming. The partnering with the senior center has been amazing. We share lots of folks that go to both. And then I was sitting by Nebraska, her little guide, they're with some of our patrons. So, and I've met with the chamber, Miss Tanya already. So I'm kind of trying to meet and greet, and I'm excited to have all of you come 3 weeks from tonight, 5:30. We'll be ending with one of our programs so you can see all the action going on. And then we can chat more about plans and ideas and what we have going. So very nice to meet you all, and I will look forward to talking to you then. And I'm very happy to be joining in Arlington.
Thank you, and we welcome you. Thank you for being here. Welcome aboard. All right, let's see, any other announcements? We had the committees last month for design review, planning, financial. We still have financial board the last Monday of every month for the next few months. Still, if anybody wants to come to that, health and safety. Treasurer's report is on file. So now we are on to consent agenda. Is there any item that anybody wants to pull off the consent agenda? Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Mr. McKee. Second by Mr. Biggs. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Any old business, Mrs. Owens? All right, on to new business. Item A, Resolution 2024-05 to authorize Mike Wisman to enter into an agreement with Smith Segman Reed as a professional consultant engineering to provide services related to construction of Donaldson Farms Parkway. I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. We went through the TDOT required process for procuring CEI services for Arlington, or Donaldson Farms Parkway. Had only one firm submit, SSR, who we're very familiar with, has done a lot of work for us, and that's who we're recommending that the town begin negotiations with for a contract for CEI services.
You've heard the recommendation by Mr. Hill. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Brooks. Second by Mr. Harmon. Questions or discussion? Hey, just talk in the microphone so that way they can get it for the notes, the minutes.
I noticed that they were the only ones that bid,
Yes, sir.
and then like when we had waste, when we did our waste thing, there was only one company that bid. So I'm just that kind of bothers me. I'm like, why are other companies not bidding on when it comes to Arlington? I was just wondering if anybody has any insight into what's going on.
I think
Reason for it, great, but I was just curious.
in the selection of professional consultants like this, it's really not a bid process. It's a statement of qualifications, and my suspicion is that other firms realize that we've been working with SSR as a town for a long time. They've always been good to us, done a good job, and I think other people sort of know that, and so they think it's a waste of their time to submit their qualifications. It's not a bid process, so it's not like we're losing an opportunity to get a lower price. It's just qualifications based.
It happens a lot. In Memphis, it happens. Waste Pro is about the only large garbage outside resource in the region right now that can take on. That's why we only have one for Waste Pro. There's some other small ones, but I'm just saying, so some of these, in Memphis, we're kind of surprised. We had like an audiovisual contract, and only one person submitted a vote.
Surprised because I think I read that they was in maybe a week ago, I think it was South. Like they had 5 bids, and I'm going, why didn't any of those companies bid?
With your proximity to the nearest landfill and how far that truck has to travel, it's less profitable for a smaller firm to travel a long way to a landfill. So they may be close to a landfill where smaller companies felt more comfortable to bid. Out here, you just had that one company. You had 2 smaller companies at one time out here. Republic bought one of those small companies, and Waste Pro bought the other small company. So it put it down to one company, and Republic has chosen to get out of the residential solid waste service because they make most of their money in the landfill itself and the tipping fees. So in DeSoto County, in Mississippi, you may have had some didn't have to have a lot of hauling time to go empty your trucks. If you have to go empty your trucks and come back and fill up, it's gonna take you a lot longer on that haul route.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but that's why you bid. I mean, you could bid. What, do you know, what landfill does Waste Pro use? Do we know? I'm just curious.
Public.
Republics in Millington as far as I'm aware of, but one other thing I want to elaborate on what Mr. Hill said is there are only 3 major firms in the Mid-South area that have qualified CEI inspectors on staff. And the way TDOT schedules and sets up their local programs is you can't have a CEI from the same engineering firm that did your design do your inspection. So they kind of piggyback on each other. If Kimley Horn did the design, then they know either SSR or Fisher and Arnold is going to come behind them and do the CEI. So they kind of have to piggyback on each other because of the way TDOT local programs has it segregated, which is a good thing. It promotes healthy competition.
All right, any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item passes. Item B, Resolution 2024-06 to authorize Mike Wisman for installation of construction, enter into a contract with Barnes & Brower for installation and construction of 3 Gateway Monument Welcome to Arlington signs at the town entrances. Mrs. Durant.
Yes, sir. You will remember that these were approved previously by the Board Mayor and Alderman, and Mr. Biggs specifically asked that we have a picture of this sign available to you. These are located in TDOT right-of-way. One of them is going to be westbound on Highway 70 as you're coming in from Fayette County. One is westbound as you're coming in from Fayette County on Highway 64. The other one is northbound as you get off I-40 right there close to the Baptist Hospital. All of that wooded area right there is TDOT right-of-way. We did only have one bidder here, and that's the same thing as in Lakeland. This is the same company who did the Welcome to Lakeland signs. So you only had one bidder in this instance. Total bid price was $148,739, which is within your budget. Staff does recommend approval, and with your approval, a pre-construction conference will be held tomorrow so that we can get started on this project. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on it for about 2 years.
You've heard the recommendation by Ms. Durant. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. McKee. Second by Mr. Biggs. Discussion or questions? Thank you for finally getting this here.
I was going to say, I think all of us have been excited waiting on this to happen, and thank y'all for working hard to get that done. I know it's not an easy task, but I think these are going to look fantastic in town.
We worked with Fisher and Arnold on this process, and David Baker asked us if he needed to be here tonight. I told him he didn't, but he's the one that did all the legwork through the state of Tennessee to get us to this point, because these 3 big monuments are going to be located in the state right of way. Then once we get this complete, Mr. Crater will be back before you with a smaller sign to go to a phase 2 on some smaller areas.
Some private, okay.
But also,
I have a question. I know we just, when we approved this design, I don't know, like a year ago, but I don't remember though, can you remind me of what the size was?
I don't have that information right offhand, Jeremy, I'm gonna be honest with you, and, I can get it to you from the construction documents.
It's not a big deal, I just thought you knew.
and
We had, basically how, we had to scale the sign proportionate to make it work in the right of ways. It's pretty close to where it was when we, initially approved it. So it proportionally is the same, I think it may be just a hair smaller, just because it had to be in the right way.
similar in size
It's
to what
very
they
similar.
utilized in Lakeland.
Probably pretty close. These are a little less,
They're better than the ones that my daughter sees that are that big, telling me I need to get bigger ones. Yes, yeah.
but I could send you exact dimensions on it tomorrow from the construction documents.
But I would like to give Jeremy Crater some recognition for coming up and kind of doing this design.
The design on them.
Because we looked at several that were okay, that felt very standard, but Jeremy came up with this, and it kind of blew us all away when it came up in comparison to other things we saw. So thank you, Jeremy, for putting in the work to come up with that design, because I think it looks fantastic, and
Kind of fits the character of the town.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Next up, Resolution 2024-07 to authorize Mike Wisman to enter into a contract with Argo Construction Corporation for the project known as Hall Creek Sewer Extension. Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, we've been working on Hollow Creek Sewer Extension probably 3 or 4 years through a lot of gyrations. We finally were able to open bids. We got all the permits and all the TDEC approvals and easements, which has taken quite a while. But February 22nd at 2 o'clock, we opened bids. We had 3 responsive bids that we received. The low bid was Argo Construction, $1,879,089. I was in the unenviable position of being the low bidder on this project. My cost estimate was low if you've looked at the figures, and I knew prices had gone up. I had no idea how much. If you think your groceries are 20% high, your sewer projects are 50% higher. So, but looking at the bids we received, I think the bid that was submitted is competitive, very competitive, legitimate. I don't think this project's going to get any cheaper. So I'm recommending award of the contract to Argo Construction.
You've heard the recommendation from Mr. Hill. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. McKee.
Second.
Second by Mr. Harmon. And I think he's right. As we've seen, all these infrastructure costs have doubled and almost tripled in price.
I was going to say that when we first started the conversation 2 or 3 years ago to now, everything has exploded in price, so.
Questions or comments? Seeing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Next up, item D, Resolution 2024-08 to acknowledge the contract approval of Kimley Horn to assist the town of Arlington with local parks and recreation grant fund application for Forest Street Park. Mrs. Durant.
The town has been successful with 3 phases of LPRF funding at Forest Street Park. This application would be the 4th and final phase to light some of the fields. It's fields 1 through 7. Mr. Upchurch is here to answer any questions you have on which fields and the details. This would allow nighttime play and practice. We have worked with Kimley Horn on the Parks Master Plan and have confidence that they will enable us to be successful with this project as well. A letter of intent to apply was due to the state by February 22nd. With the board's approval via emails, we did go ahead and submit that letter of intent to begin the process. Tonight, staff recommends and asks that the board confirm the contract, and no award date has been set. There will be several public hearings for public input during this process.
For the recommendation by Mrs. Durant, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Brooks. Second by Mr. Biggs. I got a quick question for Mr. Upchurch. Just because I don't know enough about the lighting. I know the school just updated to LED lighting, but theirs have all kinds of funky controls where they can make colors and all that. Is that typical, or is that a different?
That's, depends on the application. We're just going for standard LED sports lighting. Same company that did the high school is the company we want to use.
Okay. I just didn't know if that was an option or basically a cheap option there, even if it was just like, I'm not trying to get complicated, but if it was 4th of July and you wanted to turn them red, white, and blue, just for, for like Christmas, you want to do red
It's
and
not on this.
It's not on, okay, so.
Price, no, sir. But,
Okay.
I mean, it's something that can be added.
No, I'm not asking to add it. I know, I'm not saying it costs more. I was wondering if that was typical in the lighting business now with those or not, because I know Collierville, well, one of our friends called the other day, Mr. Hollenbeck, asking about the school's lights, and I said, I don't have that information.
Yeah,
So-
the Musco lighting rep came into town when he was working with the high school and walked our property, and he's the one that came up with the scope of work and all that.
Okay.
They did a great job over there, so I'm very satisfied with that.
Yeah, of course. I just didn't know what all was included in the scope of it, so we'll find out. Lights are getting, new lights are fancy.
Access on, off, so he can control them from an app. And they do have 24/7 support, and there's a 25-year warranty, including maintenance.
We use Musco lighting on our small football fields up here now.
If we're successful in the grant process, which is a big.
We'll be successful. We'll be successful.
What is the school, like,
They just upgraded their lighting to LED lights, but they have, so I don't know if you've seen like college games and stuff. You can, like when the music goes off, they go all different colors. You can make the whole stadium blue, gold, whatever. They did all the fields.
They redid the entire campus plus 2 practice fields that weren't lighted, so they put a lot of money and effort in that project.
So,
Don't say they won't.
yeah. So as a matter of fact, it got so much attention already that, like I said, a friend from Collierville that's on the Booster Club there called me, wanting me. I was like, I don't know anything about it. I mean, I know that they did it, but I don't know any of the. That's why I was asking Mr. Upchurch what he knew about it. So, and I see Mr. Benjamin there smiling. So I'll ask him after the meeting. All right.
Let's move on.
Any questions? Any questions on for the lighting? All right. Seeing none, or for the grant, excuse me. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Item E, Resolution 2024-09 to adopt Town of Arlington social media terms of use in accordance with TCA Code, Tennessee Public Records Act, and Open Meetings Act. Mrs. Owens.
Yes, sir. So, sorry. In front of you, there's 3 separate documents. There's a social media's terms of use, an acceptable technology use policy, and social media use and internet posting policy. These are in accordance with TCA code, 2 different sections, and they also are in compliance with the Tennessee Public Records Act and the Open Meetings Act. There was an amendment to these acts, which requires that social media records also fall into your open records request. So these policies are being put in place. Staff has reviewed them to make sure that they comply, but it also gives us some guiding information for anybody that may be posting on town social media pages or just using technology in general with the town. And staff recommends approval, and we are available for any questions.
You've heard the recommendation by Ms. Owens. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Harmon.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor McKee. Just note, so this morning in Nashville, we had a little utility training after part of the thing, and it was all dealing with social media. First Amendment requests that they can go and ask they said if you haven't been a part of one, you're lucky. So they just say, be careful. Be careful, and it's so.
This brings us in current compliance.
Discussion or questions? Pretty straightforward. All right, seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That item passes. Item F, I think it's the last item too. That's right. Item F, 2024, Resolution 2024-10 to enter into a contract with Running Pony to create 3 videos and a microsite for digital marketing campaign in collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce. Mrs. Owens.
Yes, sir. So several months ago, we started having a conversation with the chamber about ways to market Arlington, kind of what we have here available. If you remember, several years ago, we had the commercials that were on Channel 5 that had the businesses in Depot Square and like, welcome to Arlington, spend the day in Arlington. Those videos are out of date. A lot of the businesses that were in those videos no longer exist, or those people are no longer in Arlington. So we started the conversation. Tanya had approached us, and she has some grant funding available for marketing. So we've met several times with Running Pony, which is a company that she has used multiple times. And we've talked about different ways that this could work for not only the town, but also for the chamber. So this proposal in front of you is a contract with Running Pony. It would create 3 videos and a microsite for digital marketing. If you're not familiar with what a microsite is, it's basically its own like web page. So there's some that are like Discover West Tennessee, and you can go to that page, and there's all kind of things that you can do in that area. So it helps with tourism or people coming to your area. And this price would include that as well. And then it would include some money for advertising through a digital campaign, and staff's available for any questions that you may have.
You heard the recommendation by Ms. Owens. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Brooks. Second. Second by Mr. Harmon. So just a little bit more background. So this has been going on for months. We've talked about it for quite some time. Tanya, we've done some small little clips before, but our stuff is dated, and just like we just updated the website. I learned a lot. I was sat on a few of these calls with staff and Tanya and Running Pony. Learned a little bit about the way the digital marketing works, or in the microsites or whatever. You know, how somebody's looking for, if they just put in that they're looking for a home in West Tennessee, how it can target, and like the information from us can just feed to them. It's kind of like what I like, if you're on, like say if you're on Facebook and you've looked at Under Armour somewhere else, all of a sudden it starts popping up ads. It's kind of directs like stuff from the town if somebody's looked at something like that. That's just kind of the layman's terms for it. But I think it's I see Mr. Waddell out there. I read that Bartlett, I didn't get a chance to talk to him. It looks like they're doing something similar that I just saw that he reported the other day. So it's definitely kind of time for us to update, and that's kind of where all this came from. So, and Ms. Howell's here if anybody has any questions to help explain, whether it's Running Pony or the chamber grant. So, discussion or questions for staff?
So, I was a little bit unclear. Is the town's obligation 50,000, or is the town's obligation 35,000?
The town's obligation would be 35,000, and the chamber would be on the hook for 15,000 through a grant.
So, the what'd you call it,
It's a microsite.
Microsite, I want to make sure I understand it. That's like, you're saying that it's somebody Google, like, is it like from a search engine, like Google?
You could.
They put something about Arlington, and this is going to pop up, or is that what?
Yeah, so one example that I found was Covington. They actually have, if you just search, like Google Covington, Tennessee, there is a microsite that is specific for like their historic area. And so when you go to that page, I think theirs is Visit West Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. But it has like all their businesses that are down there, and like come spend the day in Covington, and like where you can eat, and if you're looking for a realtor or things like that. So the microsite would be through Google, because it's its own standalone webpage, but it would also be embedded into the town of Arlington's website and also into the chamber's website, so that if anybody's on one of those pages, they could just click and it would take them there as well. Yep. Yep.
So, one of the questions I have, when was the last video done?
Mrs. Howell, just come up here just in case you want to add anything to
Are
it.
you talking about the last video with the chamber, or the last video is for the town?
I think it was when Heather was here.
It was when Heather Sparks was leaving.
When Heather was our
in
planner.
2000, it was right after I started, so it was in 2015 that took place. And there was about 3 30-second commercials that just looped through on Channel 5, all different
Showed the
hours.
square.
It was a grant from the chamber.
That was with the grant?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm struggling, like, I put a lot of thought into this, because I knew this was coming, and I'm just like, trying to figure out what's the benefit to the taxpayer. Taxpayers paying for it,
So one of the reasons that the chamber is interested, that kind of partners with the town having some other goals, is that some of our larger employers, Stryker and Microport, are looking to relocate graduate students to our area for their engineering positions. And so taking these types of promotion videos that shows the quality of life in Arlington, we're going to actually, with the chamber's marketing dollars, we're going to push those into the university systems that have stellar engineering programs to try to lure some of those students to come to the Arlington area. So having this quality of life that shows them, hey, it's a good place for your family. We've got great schools. We've got, small town feel. Those types of things will help with their recruiting. They've requested help with their recruiting. So I've met with those folks to see kind of what universities they target. And so that's been part of the discussions with Running Pony. And I've done some of this kind of digital marketing in the past that targeted the universities.
And quite honestly, I know we've done our website. Not everybody uses websites the way they used to. And some of the information that people are looking for, they're looking for in a in a quick ball, a glimpse of, you know, whether it's a minute or a couple minutes. They don't want to have to go dig for a bunch of information until they see something first. So seeing this, like all of a sudden, if depending on how it's all set up, if they see events, like community events in town and stuff like that, like, oh, I want to grab, then that's when those microsites start taking them to where they want to go find more information on that.
It might even be a 10-second snippet from the 1-minute video that might show up in their feed because of something that they've searched for.
The 3 videos are 1 minute.
I think one is, Kathy, one was a minute and the other 2 were 30 seconds, I believe, and then the microsite. Yes. And just to give you a minute about Running Pony, they are a nationally recognized production company that's located here in Memphis. I've worked with them 3 different times through the chamber. The Shelby County Chamber Alliance works with them, and the Greater Memphis Chamber works with them.
I went to their website and looked at it.
Yeah.
What content are you anticipating? I mean, are you, like, well, I'm just trying to understand. One video will be like Depot Square, or what content is going to be?
We haven't gotten there yet. There's different demographics that the site is trying to attract, and I have a presentation that I can scan and email you tomorrow. But back to your original question as to how it benefits taxpayers, we as the town of Arlington see it generating interest in people moving to your community, interest in people wanting to open businesses in your community or relocate businesses into your community. There are a lot of things that taxpayers demand. They like more local restaurants to shop at. They don't have to travel very far. They want more shopping experiences in the city of Arlington. They want their parks and parks programming and personnel and a well-staffed fire station. All of those things cost taxpayers dollars, and to attract more people to be interested in Arlington and invest in Arlington helps us take those tax dollars and give it back to the citizens on the amenities that they want to see and the things that they want to be available in their city. So I see it as a promotion of what we have to offer, a day in a life of Arlington. You know, we have churches, we have schools, we have businesses, we have industries, we have a nice downtown area, we have special events. That's the way I see it. And then there would be a component, like Tanya's talking about, to attract young professionals to move here. I mean, I think we all know we've got a price point here in Arlington on housing that is going to take those professionals that want to move here. And you've got Blue Oval right down the street. You're going to have some of those professionals moving into the area. And like the mayor said, if you've got a snippet on a feed and in the palm of your hand, everybody wants everything instantly. You might have Arlington come up in a professional manner that would attract some of those executives to want to locate their families here for what we have to offer.
We have people in town that don't even know the square still.
Can you add that to the app also?
Part of your marketing is to your current residents so that they understand how the tax dollars have already been used. It's a visual way to get a positive message out instead of, them having to read the report about it. So they see it and they say, oh, yeah, we're good enough.
Harry, your question?
I think it'll look a lot better than the billboards I see down the expressway welcoming people to their town.
Yeah.
To your
I think it's a little more professional than what I see. And if you can add it to our app that more people are using all the time, I think it'll be a lot better.
Yes, you can add it to your app. You can add it to your Facebook pages. You can add it basically anywhere that you'd want because you would own it. And then the other question about how does it benefit current taxpayers, there's also a group, I mean, I know my staff has talked to at least 10 people in the last week that have just moved into Arlington and just they'll call and they'll be like, tell me everything Arlington has to offer. And it's really hard to do in a 30-minute phone conversation. But if you haven't seen the prior videos, I can send those to you. But what they did was they basically went to different businesses. It was all different types. I think we had a restaurant, we had a clothing store, a realtor, we had different things. And they interviewed the business owners and, just told them like, hey, this is what we do, come down here. So it can recruit people to your area, but it can also benefit the people that are already here. And attract more businesses or more residents to go to their businesses that may not know they even exist or what they have to offer.
And one good thing is, I mean, what I would like to see eventually is, once you get this initial one out of the way, whether it's annually or biannually or, you know, every other year, a small portion, because you've already got a lot of the footage and you got all that. Now all you got to do is you can tweak whatever you need to tweak and target whatever you want to target if you want for a fraction of the cost of the initial production. Now you're just, yeah, just like a website. So,
Me, when I think of it, is as much about, as development comes and we want to keep taxes low for our residents, when businesses that are outside the general area of Memphis are being asked to relocate or bring something here, put a business here, put a restaurant here, whatever it might be, it's a selling opportunity for them to go, okay, this is what that town is, if they're not familiar with Arlington. And we're going to continue to have developments come into the town. We've got a couple that are coming out of the ground, and, you know, they're going to be trying to attract those things that the citizens want. And so I think that there's ways that, sure, it's a fixed cost to give out, but I think that when we're promoting our town, everything's digital age nowadays, and when businesses are trying to attract, or developments are trying to attract businesses to come into their development, it's going to shine a positive light on our town, I would expect.
well, it's us controlling the message too, you know, and because a Facebook page doesn't always give you the accurate information. No, let's be honest. So.
They already have looked at all of our websites, they've looked at businesses in town, what their they've looked at demographics, they already know, they know a lot before they even talk to us, because that's how they have to take care of the risks that they're investing in a new venture. So this will just be one more tool.
The best way we can promote our town is to make wise decisions. I'm not saying I disagree with this, you know, I'm okay with it, but that's the best way to promote our town. If we continue to make wise decisions up here, people notice that and they see that.
That's why he's got these nice looking signs that are going.
Yeah, some people don't agree with the signs. Yeah, so.
I would have had more heartburn on that.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, that's a lot more money.
I know.
Both of them are promoting the town in a positive light. So
Yeah.
you better promote the town in a positive light.
So. Questions or comments? Any more? All right, seeing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. We have one more to add right here, and this is Resolution 2024-11 to authorize Mike Wisman as mayor to enter into a contract with Green Earth LLC to provide landscaping services for the town. Is Mrs. Durant on this one?
The town of Arlington lost its previous landscaper because he decided to go and be a firefighter for us, so we still have him with us. But we could no longer contract directly with him, so Mr. Upchurch is here to answer any questions that you have. In the scope, it tells you the definition of exactly what we're looking at. Some parks it's beds only, some parks it's turf and bed maintenance. But this is to take some of the tedious work off of a very small staff in your parks department, outsource it through a company who can do it more efficiently and quicker and not pull your staff off of other things. And it did come in cheaper than what you were previously paying. So staff does recommend approval to this contractor, and it was the only bid.
You've heard the recommendation by Mrs. Durant of a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. McKee. Discussion or questions for Mr. Upchurch, for Mr. Durant, or anything? I mean, really, we're just trying to keep our maintenance on our landscaping up.
We did have several companies come out and look at all the sites with Mr. Upchurch before the bid, so.
Okay, great. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Any other business, Mrs. Owens? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the bills for payment? Motion by Mr. McKee. Second by Mr. Harmon. Any objection to paying the bills? Seeing none, that item passes. Any other quick announcements before we adjourn? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Harmon. Any objection? Seeing none, meeting adjourned. Thank you all. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's a old high school